On this episode of Rock the Park,
It just continues to get more complicated.
we're looking for one of the most powerful volcanoes on Earth.
There are no trails where we are right now.
So big, it buried an entire region in ash.
Like an apocalyptic war zone.
Getting there is more treacherous than we imagined.
All right, here's where the current's picking up, dude. Be careful.
Hey, bear!
And we're not alone.
Wow, that bear is a monster.
Our adventure in Alaska is explosive,
You gotta be kidding me.
and it starts right now.
We gotta get going, dude.
I'm Jack Stewart.
And I'm Colton Smith.
We love the national parks.
Oh my gosh.
It's all about packing up a car and just doing it. Just hitting the road.
Our goal is to visit every national park in this country.
And when you go off the beaten path like we do,
There's no telling what will happen next.
wow, ready for the time of your life?
Get set to rock the park.
We're in Katmai National Park in Alaska, home to the biggest bang of the 20th century.
We're talking a volcanic eruption of massive proportions, and if it weren't for that, Katmai might not even be a park today. Katmai National Park is located on the Alaska Peninsula and sits on the Ring of Fire, an arc of intense volcanic activity that circles the Pacific Ocean. There are 14 active volcanoes in Katmai. In 1912, one of those volcanoes blew its top, spewing out massive volumes of ash and pumice, making Novarupta the largest eruption of the 20th century. It was 30 times bigger than the Mount St. Helens eruption.
There was so much ash that it blocked the sun's rays and actually lowered temperatures in the northern hemisphere for half a year.
5 years after the eruption, an explorer named Robert Griggs found an eerie landscape around the volcano, bursting with so many steam vents, he dubbed it the Valley of 10,000 Smokes. We're going to retrace his steps
Be careful, because this is really deep.
and travel back through time to that eerie landscape to see what's left of that still active volcano.
But first, our journey begins 80 miles away on the Pacific coast in Hallow Bay. We plan to explore the effects of the volcano and check out what the park is best known for today: thousands of brown bears.
Hi guys, I'm Brad. Welcome to Hallow Bay Bear Camp here in Katmai National Park.
Hallow Bay is a protected wilderness area, but a century ago, it was covered in more than 15 feet of ash. The plants and animals have recovered, but evidence of the volcano is all around us. This is pumice, a volcanic rock.
This entire beach is riddled with these little rocks that actually came out of Novarupta about 100 years ago.
What's unique about pumice is, although it is a rock, it's very porous and light, and sometimes it'll float. Come on, pumice.
Yeah! All right. Floating rock.
A rock that floats.
Look at that. We stumbled across some brown bear tracks. These things are massive. I mean, look at this. This is pretty solid sand, and look how much it's sunken in like that.
Well, this is an adult bear, so a few things you can tell about tracks in general. That track goes roughly about 8.5 inches wide, which translates into about an 8.5 foot long bear from nose to tail. And actually, if we look over our shoulder, we can see a bear.
Oh, wow, okay. Oh,
That looks like it's about an 8.5 foot long bear. That is a big bear, and he seems to be coming our way.
so this thing's coming at us. What do we do?
Well, we'll definitely step away from the creek, because as you said before, it's moving this way to look for the food. So if everybody just wants to stay with me, we'll just walk right on up here and give the right of way to the bear.
Wow. That bear is a monster.
Ooh, and it's changing
Changing its
course.
so we got to be really on our toes.
The brown bears that live along the coast dig for clams and eat salmon that come up the rivers to spawn. An easy meal for bears who need to add 300 to 400 pounds to survive hibernation. Males can grow up to 1,200 pounds.
You come to Katmai to see bears, but when it happens, it's kind of a surreal experience.
This is nuts. And so right now, we're just trying to remain calm, show the bear we don't mean it any harm, and we're just here to visit and observe it.
After more than a half hour, the bear seems to lose interest in eating and detours into the brush.
It's gonna go find a shady area to take a nap, digest its food, come back out and eat some more.
With the bear off the path, Brad takes us into the backcountry to see what other animals are roaming the area.
We've got a wolf track right here on the trail. It's pretty big.
Yeah, and all around is potential bears sleeping, so good spot to be for a couple of guys.
It's been a perfect day, and as much as we hate to leave this beautiful place, we have a date with a volcano. But it won't be easy.
You see my shirt? That's gonna be our tent if we don't make it to Baked Mountain.
We're in Alaska in Katmai National Park, ready to explore the aftermath of the largest volcanic eruption of the 20th century. Before the eruption, the Valley of 10,000 Smokes was covered in lush green vegetation, spruce forests, and of course, bears. Now, 40 square miles are buried in up to 700 feet of ash.
What shocks me is how desolate it is, and the fact that no one got killed in the eruption.
About 5 days before the eruption, earthquakes were just rattling the region. So the native peoples knew that something was up, and they got out.
Park Ranger Landis Eller puts it in perspective.
Some people refer to this as like America's Pompeii. Mount Vesuvius erupts, buries entire city. Here we don't have a city, but it buried everything that was here. So there are places like ghost forests where things are covered up.
Over time, several rivers and streams have carved through the ash, creating these dramatic slot canyons and waterfalls.
Oh,
Wow.
dang, look at that. Oh, that's cool.
This is awesome because
You can see the 3 different levels. You've got the new vegetation, you've got
Volcanic ash.
Yeah, and then
this river.
This looks like you're on another planet, I will say that.
we'll be hiking this valley alone, hoping to make it out to Novarupta, that still active volcano, by tomorrow. Landis has one last word of advice for us.
The plants we see around us, I mean, this has all grown back in the last 100 years.
Okay.
Plants are moving back in slowly, taking it over. Animals are following them. I wouldn't be surprised if you see the bear walking through.
On that note, the time has come to set out on our own. We plan to reach makeshift huts on Baked Mountain to find shelter for tonight.
We've got a long day ahead of us. We've got 12 miles. We're gonna be walking on hundreds of feet of volcanic ash. And not to mention, we have rivers to cross.
2 rivers to be exact, and we're told one can be extremely treacherous.
But these rivers play another role. We only have so much water, and we have a filtration system that requires us to actually get to these rivers and resupply.
We reach the first river after an hour or so. Crossing it won't be an issue, but the water is extremely murky and filled with ash.
These things will save you out here. Basically, you can put this into any water source you want, pump it through, and it's ready to drink. It's kind of amazing. I don't know what we'd do without it.
I'd say we've gone 2 miles. I think we're looking at 10 from here.
We got some miles to make.
Yes, we do.
Okay, you ready?
Yep.
Ooh, whoa, that is cold. Whoa, man.
Dude, check it out. Yeah. Oh, that's how you. Oh, come on. Colton likes to think he's Mr. Macho and everything, but you remember the pumice we found on Hallow Bay? That's what this stuff is. It's porous, it makes it extremely light, so don't give yourself too much credit there, bud.
Oh, that's so cool.
So I've noticed a little bit of an issue here. You see the mountain range that we want to follow. However, we were told there's a good trail for a while here, and the trail is already gone. However, a mountain range is a pretty good trail marker. They're pretty big, mountains are. Hard to miss them.
The terrain is mostly ash and looks a lot like the surface of the moon. So much so that the Apollo astronauts trained here during the 1960s.
Feel completely out of my element, and I'm loving it. It's about 2. It gets dark at 10, and we've probably got another 7 miles. So we gotta get rolling.
We are flying by the seat of our pants here. We alternate between looking for our second river crossing and keeping an eye on our mountain. Some of the brush has grown back, but the ground is still covered with all this ash, and it's slippery ash. Look at. Oh. Oh. Ah.
You okay?
Yeah, gosh. Well, as you can see, I just fell down and a rock jammed into my back. We've been going for miles and miles. This is where you start to slowly lose your wits.
We're starting to get worried. The sun is going down behind the mountain, our water supply is running low, and we keep coming up to gorges that we hope are the river, and they're not.
It's 8 p.m. and we're running out of time and options. Suddenly we hear running water, and that's a good sign because we have to cross one more river before we can get to our shelter.
Oh my gosh, dude, are you kidding? Be careful, because this is really deep.
I know, I'm gonna be careful. Oh no.
Yeah.
We just reached the river. It's at least 35, 40 feet straight drop down there. We're not crossing here. You gotta be kidding me. You've gotta be kidding me. Dude, we could be absolutely sunk here.
We're in Katmai National Park in Alaska, hoping to reach Novarupta, the still active volcano that buried this valley under more than 700 feet of volcanic ash. In order to get there, we have to cross this river, but after hiking for nearly 10 hours, we still haven't found a safe place to get across.
Not only do we have to cross a river that's gonna be treacherous, that's gonna govern the rest of our trip. If it's too bad, we're not even gonna make it to Novarupta. Not to mention the fact that we have to fill up our water there, which has to last us the next 2 days. This is huge. I'm looking at the sun, it's going over the mountain there. We still have about, I'd say, 4 miles to go.
That's 4 miles just to get close to Baked Mountain and those makeshift research huts that are supposed to be our shelter for the night.
You want to be somewhat secluded and enclosed, and out here, there is nothing for miles and miles.
You're exposed to the elements. You see my shirt? That's gonna be our tent if we don't make it to Baked Mountain, and right now the clock's ticking.
Yeah.
We gotta get going, dude. Man, do you feel that wind? This is the valley I was expecting. The wind is really starting to pick up.
It's getting in my eyes, my mouth, and there's absolutely nothing out here to block it.
We're following the river, but it just keeps getting worse. The current is getting stronger, and we've encountered a wicked waterfall.
This thing's deep. It drops down about 40 feet straight down. And even if it was closer, I wouldn't risk jumping it.
My biggest fear right now is that it was back there a ways and we somehow missed where we were supposed to cross the river.
Reality is starting to sink in. Even if we find a place to cross this river, we're not gonna be able to get to our shelter in time. We're gonna have to camp in the middle of this valley. Here we go, okay. Woo!
Suddenly, just beyond the waterfall, Colton thinks he spots an opening in the river.
Okay,
That's it.
that's a little better. We still got to get up there and see what it actually looks like from bird's eye, but that's much better than this.
We found what we think is gonna be our river crossing. It's widened out between 2 little narrow sections, which means it's not gonna be as deep and the current won't be roiling like they are, you know, like it is through there.
We've been told to always check the depths of the water of these rivers that we're crossing. Ash is soft, so there could be 20 to 30 foot drop-offs that are just carved out in the middle, and we would never see them coming. Plus, there are rocks, and if we slip, we could be carried downstream.
Because this water is ashy, it's murky, you can't see your footing, so having a walking stick really lets you know what your next step is gonna be, because without it, you're going in there blind.
This water is freezing, so now, not only do we have to worry about what we're stepping on and what's ahead of us, we have to worry about our legs cramping up, because this is so cold.
All right, here's where the current's picking up, dude, be careful. We have to make sure that every step we take is a strong one, because down the river, there's a massive waterfall. So if we fall in, there's a good chance we're going right over it. Is it getting deeper?
It's really silty, so you're gonna kind of cave in. Oh, it's cold. Oh my gosh. Woo! Oh, that's cold.
Oh my gosh. Oh, you all right?
Yeah, I'm just cold.
Oh, 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 oh.
We did it.
Man! Ah, it's so cold.
Oh, it's like fire.
We're wet, we're cold, but we're on the right side of the river.
Now we've got a long ways to go. We're looking at probably 3.5 miles to our camp.
Time to maybe put on a layer or two because it's getting chilly out here. Now our biggest obstacle is just beating the sun down and making it to shelter.
I'm starting to get worried. I don't want to be out here at night because there are bears out here.
So we start hiking again. It's almost 10 p.m. We haven't eaten since lunch, and the huts are still 2 miles away.
We're close, but we're not going to get there tonight.
I think we have to call it here. We're still far away. We're not getting to the huts, but this should block the wind well enough. I'm done.
I'm fine with this for tonight.
Yeah.
What we're gonna do is set up camp and get up at the crack of dawn and make our way towards the volcano.
Yes, the center of all this chaos you see around you.
We're in Alaska, surrounded by active volcanoes. We camped out last night in the Valley of 10,000 Smokes. We're tired, but ready to set off on the final leg of our journey. Today is it. Today's where we get to the site of the largest eruption of the 20th century.
We think that Novarupta is just on the other side of Baked Mountain, but it looks like that is still a good 2 miles away.
This last stretch is tougher than we thought it'd be.
We've been hiking now for maybe 3 hours, and it has been an uphill climb the entire way. The reality is, when you're up in the elevation and the sun is beating down on you, it makes it that much harder.
But if you look around me right now, these towering mountains that are just covered in ash, I'm starting to get the sense why that's called Baked Mountain. That thing just got scorched.
All this that we're walking on right now is ash.
It's basically like you're hiking straight up a huge sandbox, which if anyone knows sand, well, you slip, you trip. Woo! It's not fun.
You smell that?
Yeah, sulfur.
As we're hiking, we're climbing, we're getting closer to Novarupta, and you can smell the volcanic gas. This is real stuff.
We're just about at the top of the ridge, and we're hoping that we don't discover yet another mountain that we have to cross.
Wow. Check that out. Oh,
Mountain.
there's Novarupta. There it is. You
Right
see
there.
it steaming?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah! We made it!
Woo! Yep, that 200-foot high mound of steaming volcanic material is Novarupta. When it blew, it spewed out so much ash and magma, it depleted its own supply and then stole some from beneath neighboring Mount Katmai. That mountain also collapsed on itself, forming an 800-foot deep caldera, which is now a lake.
Novarupta today is acting as a lava plug, which means it's holding down this massive gateway to a huge cauldron of volcanic activity that's underneath it.
It was definitely a struggle to get here, but hands down, it was well worth the effort. One thing I'm taking away from this trip is to move forward one step at a time because there were so many times on this little journey to this spot we're at right now where I was thinking, how are we gonna get water? How are we gonna move forward?
I mean, just look at where we are right now. You literally have active volcanoes surrounding us that are steaming, and then in the middle of it, a volcano that just blew up this entire area and leveled everything.
Most people head away from volcanoes. We headed straight towards it.
That's how we do it, man.
Katmai National Park truly is one of the most powerful places on Earth. It's not for the faint of heart,
But if we can do it, so can you. So get out there and rock the park.
Yeah!
everybody. Thanks for watching. Make sure to leave any questions or comments that you have.
And please subscribe to the channel. There's a lot more to come.